Here we go!
Years ago, when a game would draw to a close, I spent my time trying to revive the excitement it once had. Obviously, those of you familiar with my content know I'd seek out mysteries or invent stories in my head about the game itself. That's precisely how Mario became a pizza man in Super Mario 64, or a holiday resort employee who took Chuck-Ya's around the island. Oh yeah, that was the thing. I even streamed the concept several years ago. But rewinding back to the whole pizza man angle, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, as a kid I'd go to levels that had cork boxes that Mario could carry, those small throwable boxes that contained 3 coins. These levels were few and far in between, mainly being Bob-omb Battlefield and Whomp's Fortress, and it was my goal to take this cork box to the top of the level in order to deliver a pizza to the level's boss. I was a dumb kid, but at the same time, it was really fun to do this. In my eyes, Mario was a pizza delivery man, and within this cork box was multiple pizzas stacked on top of each other. If I didn't make it to the bosses in time, the pizzas got cold and I got fired. Same goes for the box shattered. But the thing is, there are only 2 levels you could do this at. For some reason, every other level in the game lacked these boxes. But it isn't 1996 anymore. With today's technology and fan creations, this Pizza Man challenge has evolved far and wide, even developing into a game of keep away, where a team of plumbers must stop a team of toads from snatching up a box that Mario is trying to transport. It's brutal, chaotic fun, and really makes delivering the box to the boss extremely difficult. But there's a part of me who always wanted to know what I would have done if I could have brought a box with me throughout the entire game back when I was young, through every level and at every boss fight. Well, that's what we'll be tackling today. It's time to put on our delivery man uniforms one more time and tackle a challenge I've always wanted to do since I was a kid. Is it possible to beat Super Mario 64 if Mario must hold a box the entire time? I promise you, it's not as simple as it sounds. So this challenge video took well over 100 hours to produce. The only reason why I can produce long form content like this is because of the generous support of sponsors like Raid Shadow Legends. In case you've been living under a rock for the last couple of months, or in this case, a box, Raid is a brand new free-to-play collection RPG. Harness the power of your champions to take on formidable foes like giant dragons. Oh god. Okay, don't charge the dragon. Raid has an immersive storyline, great 3D graphics, giant boss fights, and more than 400 champions for you to collect and customize. It'll certainly remind you of the classical RPGs and strategy games you played years ago, except now you can do it on your phone. Even though it's on mobile, the graphics still look really great. Just take a look at these different characters. The game also boasts nearly a perfect rating, with over hundreds of thousands of reviews. So what are you waiting for? There's going to be a huge update this month for new players, so click on the special link in the description below to get 50,000 silver and a free epic champion to start your journey. And I want to thank Raid for sponsoring this video, so I can continue to make more absurd challenges. Now first things first, we of course need to lay down some ground rules and go over cork box properties, because when Mario is holding a box, things about the game change a lot. So we'll actually start with the properties because it will help define why the rules exist. When Mario has a box in his hands, his momentum and moving options change quite a bit. His running speed is slowed down to a simple trot. So in order to increase speed, a series of hops will get him moving much faster. But there's also a risk that comes with this new way of moving. Slopes in the game become dangerous for several different reasons. For one, Mario's speed increases a ton when he's moving down one, and his legs will turn to a blur. Losing control at this point is fairly easy, and it's simple to lose the box or shatter it when trying to recover. But downward slopes aren't the only slope issue, because moving upwards on the slope has its own unique set of problems. If at any point Mario jumps from a slope that's angle is too sharp, even if Mario can stand on the slope with no problems, the box will drop to the ground while Mario enters a normal jumping animation. Usually the box will begin sliding at this point, and of course, if it touches a vertical face or a staggered edge, it will explode. Now, this is problematic because it's uncertain when this will happen, and it significantly decreases our speed since we have to be cautious. Which brings us to more issues, which I'll address in a montage. Mario's jumping height is significantly reduced while carrying a box. Grabbing an edge will destroy the box. Colliding with a wall will destroy the box. The box will disappear if left alone for too long. Additional height can be gained if Mario throws a box, thus making it onto a ledge, but only if he can recover the box afterwards, because if he doesn't, it'll hit a wall and destroy the box. Doors hate boxes. Boxes hate doors. There's a range in which the box can interact with objects if thrown, but if Mario doesn't follow the box, it'll fall out of this range and not interact with any other objects. Certain objects allow a box to be placed on them. Other objects are anti-box and will just drop the box, which one will assume will destroy the box. Boxes can be swam with surprisingly, despite never being at any levels with accessible water under normal means. Oh, and poles suck. Okay, now with all that said, here's the rules. Stars can only be collected if the box is in Mario's hand when he touches it. Red coins must be collected while only holding the box. If one can't be collected due to being out of your range, then the star is unattainable. Mario must be carrying a box during all crucial parts of gameplay. It's okay to set the box down, just make sure you grab it again before it disappears. This timing is super important at bosses, since you'll generally need to drop the box to perform actions. Only one box is provided in each level, but there are exceptions. Levels that have transitions will allow a box to be spawned on the other side of the warp. A transition consists of when one area unloads and another separate map loads as the screen fades to black. So think of swimming into the pirate ship in Jolly Roger Bay. The level transitions and loads the ship's interior. Anytime the game switches areas, it normally unloads Mario's hands, so this courtesy box is provided to remedy that. However, this only applies if Mario actually carries the box through the transition. He's also allowed to throw a box into a transition area too, since Mario touching a transition area at any speed would still warp him and reduce that speed to 0 upon spawning. Given this, it only makes sense that boxes should behave under the same rules, otherwise this run would be impossible. However, same map warps are banned from this run. Think of Mario dissolving and reappearing elsewhere in the level. This cannot be done while holding an object normally, so it's applied across the rule set. In addition to this, holding a box during a transition that does not fade to black means Mario cannot exploit the cork box unloading to his advantage. This normally could be used to force stars and other objects to load into Mario's hands. This is banned, and a courtesy box is provided during loading times in levels where this occurs. As for gameplay, in-level exploits are allowed within reason, but only if they can be accomplished without task mechanics. At no point can BLJs be used to skip doors or areas within the castle. Official star counts serve as permanent barriers. Any exploits like cloning, building of speed to tear through walls, bloated bomb movement, etc. are banned. And with that, we have all the rules. So let's start the run off back where it all started initially. Star 1 on Bob-omb Battlefield, Big Bob-omb on the summit. Much like in my younger years, which inspired this entire run, Star 1 can be completed without issue. Climb the mountain, set the box down, and toss the king around to secure your star. Foot race with Koopa the Quick isn't too difficult either, but you need to watch out for harsh angled slopes as jumping on them will make you drop your box. If you quick hop your way through the level, you'll have enough speed to beat Koopa and secure your second star. This is where things become problematic though. Shoot to the island in the sky is impossible, as there is no way to get the cork box to the top of the island. Jumping and throwing the box doesn't work, and even if the wing cap turns out to be obtainable in this run, the gliding ability still makes this fall short before reaching the island. Even if the box makes it on the island, it'd slide to the other side and fall off. This is where our problems begin, because without being able to reach the island, that means finding the 8 red coins and Mario Wings to the Sky are unobtainable, as we'd have to have a box with us given the rule set. However, we can clear behind Chain Chomp's gate, and with a running jump, we can seize the star. Due to not being able to collect the coins in the sky though, the 100 coin star is impossible, meaning we have 3 stars that are obtainable and 4 that are not. Moving on over to Whomp's Fortress, chip off Whomp's block is definitely doable, as it was the second place that I tackled the Pizza Box Challenge as a kid. We just have to be careful as the Whomp King is capable of smashing the box easily if it is within his range. Upon defeat, we can collect the star and move on. To the top of the fortress is clearable just as long as you use your momentum correctly when scaling the tower. Be mindful that you can't accidentally grab an edge as the box will shatter if you do. When you're grabbing the star, make sure Mario's angle doesn't put the box in danger either, as it'll shatter if it drops in the wrong place. And speaking of shattering boxes, Shoot into the Wild Blue has a lot of them. In order to make it over to the star, you basically have to use sliding momentum from this hill to give Mario a boost over. It took me a ton of tries to get this right, as originally I was trying to use the momentum of the hill to jump in between the 2 pillars, but I'd either hit my head or grab the ledge, both destroying the box in the process. Interesting enough, sometimes I randomly clipped through the map too because of the fence. It happened a few times and I fell to my death. But if we time our slide right and don't clip out of bounds, we can slide right onto the upper platform and then descend to grab the star. Red coins on the floating island isn't too much more difficult in general, just be mindful of your jumping distance so you don't shatter the box. Fall into the caged island is unfortunately unbeatable though. as there is no way to get the box safely into the caged island. Blast away the wall can be accomplished by dropping the box and blowing up the wall. This method is preferred instead of clipping through the wall like speedrunners do, mainly because it allows the box to fall safely to the floor below without exploding. Due to the layout of Whomp's Fortress, the 100 coin star can be obtained as well since nothing is really off axis with the box. This brings us to 6 obtainable stars and 1 that is not. Onward to Cool Cool Mountain, and the beginning of annoying stars during this box run. Slip sliding away seems pretty easy, but the star doesn't spawn until Mario passes through the door at the bottom. Now, the issue is that Mario can't actually go through doors with boxes. However, because this door classifies as a transition, and honestly is the only door within a level that acts this way, it's granted immunity. Any objects that load and unload new areas are immune, and so we're able to gather the star on the other side due to the rule set. Mind you, this won't be the case later on, which will be problematic. Moving on to the next star, Little Penguin Lost is honestly a nightmare to complete. Not only do you have to move the penguin, but you also have to move the box. So you can choose to either set down one of these objects to pick up the other and move slowly throughout the map, or walk the penguin through the map very carefully by having them run from you. Either way, it's not fun at all. If the penguin leaves a specific range, they'll be unloaded and respawn at the top of the map. In theory, you could try to find a spot to make the penguin walk off the top of the map, and at the same time fall with a box within this range, but we took the long way on this one. And of course, the long walk means your box is in danger too if you happen to get hit. Careful planning will allow you to walk the penguin to the mom though, securing yourself a star. Due to the door immunity we talked about earlier, Big Penguin Race is another star you can complete, due to the transition immunity outlined in the rules. Frosty Slide for 8 red coins is another star that is a tad annoying to collect, because we can't utilize the warp to go back to the top of the mountain. Since you have to touch each red coin while holding the box to collect them, this means you end up at the bottom of the mountain at some point and need to make your way back up half of it. The problem is, you can't climb these slippery slopes without losing the box while jumping. In order to get around this, you have to be sliding forward on your rump while jumping backwards. With correct timing, you'll be able to scale certain slopes as long as you don't interact with a different plane of geometry. Doing so will make you drop the box when attempting to jump. With enough patience, you can make your way up the area where the red coin star spawns, and nab yourself another shiny collectible. Snowman's Lost His Head is pretty normal, except it's a bit harder to get in front of the snowball, since you can't utilize long jumps or other mechanics to increase Mario's speed. The rest is pretty much the same, and it's a star you can certainly get. Wall kicks will work, unfortunately isn't a star you can get, so we'll have to cross the one off due to there being too much height difference for the box to overcome. We can collect 100 coins here though. We just have to be mindful of the paths we take, since getting back up is annoying. This brings us to 6 stars that are collectible and 1 that isn't. Before moving on to Jolly Roger Bay, let's tackle some castle secret stars. The secret aquarium is pretty much the same since swimming with a box doesn't change a whole lot. Collect the coins and grab yourself a star. The princess's secret slide is pretty much the same too, and both stars are obtainable without too much trouble. Since we have over 10 stars, we can access Tower of the Wing Cap. But since we can't gain any height, we can't get the red coin star here. However, we can unlock the wing cap still and exit the stage. Diving into Jolly Roger Bay, plunder in the sunken ship is pretty much the same. Collecting the star inside the ship is a bit more interesting though once the water is drained. Can the eel come out to play doesn't change either. Just be mindful that if you get hit, you drop the box, and have to recover it while it sinks to the seafloor. Treasure in the ocean cave is obtainable, but red coins on the ship afloat is not. There's actually a problem getting the cork box onto the ship, as the rocky terrain leading up to the ship is too high for Mario to get on top of with the box. With a well-timed jump, Mario can throw the box on top, but he can't get to the box fast enough to stop it from falling or exploding against a wall. Trying to toss the box at the purple switch or rock object in hopes of redirecting it don't work, as it either passes through them or just explodes. Because of this, the coins on top of the ship are unattainable, because Mario needs to have a box in hand when collecting them. One would think Blast to the stone pillar would be unattainable, but using the same stuttering walking technique that was used in my challenge run, where every object was converted to a coin, we can actually walk up the slope by moving upwards and then stopping and resetting our analog stick to center. Doing this over and over will let Mario scale the slope, and then we can hop on over and grab the star when we're done. If you watched speedruns before, you probably know that Metal Cap isn't really a necessity to grab this next star. With the correct swimming pattern, we can swim through the jet stream to snag another star. The 100 coin star is impossible because only 104 coins are present in the level. And red coins are worth 2 coins each. 4 red coins are off limits, thus this star cannot be obtained. This leaves us with 5 stars obtainable and 2 that aren't. If I'm being honest, so far we've had some pretty awesome luck. But things are going to change for the worse very soon, as the basement set of levels bring upon a whole new set of challenges. But before jumping into that, we need to tackle Bowser in the Dark World. Navigating this level is something I've done before in a challenge video over on Swanky Zone, so it isn't too shabby. We can even collect all of the 8 red coins here and grab a star on our way up. Facing off against Bowser isn't too bad either, as this Bowser fight is relatively simple. We don't have to worry about the box breaking or unspawning since the fight is quick. Once Bowser is defeated, we pick up our trustworthy box and grab our key. And into the basement we go, and probably the worst set of levels this run has. So let's dive into Big Boo's haunt to see what we can do. Mario grabs his trustworthy box, races to the door, and realizes no matter what he does, he isn't able to open it. The front door, side door, and elevated door all cannot be entered with a box. So Mario is stuck outside, forever. There isn't a way to get the box into the actual house, and even if there was, we come across more doors we cannot use. Boxes cannot be grabbed through a door either, and trying to set down a box near a door causes it to explode. This, unfortunately, slaps us with a whopping 7 unobtainable stars for this level. But our grim tale is far from over, because a similar issue presents itself at Hazy Maze Cave. Both paths at the beginning of the level have doors that Mario cannot get past, and thus this level is completely off limits too. There's a few tricks we might have been able to utilize here, like pushing through the floor with the elevator, or jumping over the boundaries of the ceiling to fall into lower parts of the level, but unfortunately the first room seals our fate. 7 more unattainable stars for this level. Let's hammer out some quick castle stars to boost our morale a bit. First, Toad Star by the Hazy Maze Cave is easy enough. Grabbing Mips while keeping the box from despawning isn't the worst thing in the world either. That gives us 2 more stars as we begin draining the moat. Hopping over into Vanish Cap though, we're presented with a pretty interesting situation. First, we obviously want to unlock the Vanish Cap, as we'll need it eventually for Dire Dire Docks. But collecting the red coins here also yields us another star. The problem is, Mario's jumping height is too short to make it up to the raised area right before the big horizontal stretch of platforming. Even if you throw the box to give it a slight boost, it'll break against the wall before you can grab it. Grabbing the ledge, of course, shatters the box. So in order to move past this point, first, make sure you've collected all the red coins in this part of the level, because now you're going to need to slide on Mario's behind and jump backwards up the giant hill over and over again. The goal is to make it up to the first set of platforms on the hill, and then transition to the raised edge of the hill, and then do the same thing. However, for this one, you actually need to go up pretty much the entire hill, which is kinda tedious. At this height, you can jump off, take some pretty heavy damage, and then pick up your box and tackle the second half of the level. Navigating the platforming part of the stage isn't terrible, but just remember that if the slope you're on becomes too great of an angle, jumping with the box will cause Mario to lose the box. With some careful footwork, Mario can make it to the top to grab all the red coins. He can also activate Vanish Cap, which will secure us a star later on. We leave this area with an additional star, boosting our overall score by 3 in terms of the castle secret stars. Let's go into Lethal Lava Land, which is a pain in the butt. First and foremost, boxes will be destroyed if they touch lava. They actually combust and sink similar to how bullies do. It's an interesting mechanic, especially since cork boxes are never at any lava levels. Anyways, let's tackle some stars. Bully the Big Bully isn't too bad, but with the box in hand, you have to play it safe because getting burned at all usually means the box will be destroyed. After grabbing this star, you'll make your way back there again to boil the bullies for your second star in the level. 8-coin puzzle with 15 pieces honestly doesn't change at all in terms of difficulty, so you can clear it easily. Red hot log rolling is a different story though. Getting over to the log isn't too bad, but navigating the log is a pain if you're not careful. The issue with the log is that it's constantly changing your slope angle below you. Chances are, when you go to jump, the box will drop to the floor and fall into lava. Or if you're pinned against the wall at the end, the box will shatter. The thin bouncing bars in the lava can't be walked across either. The solution to getting across this is to just maintain parallel to the log at all times when jumping. Doing so will allow Mario to jump up freely without losing the box. It's a bit slower than the normal way of getting the star, but you'll eventually get there. Now the last 2 stars take us within the volcano. As long as we have enough momentum, we can carry the box inside with us, but we run into a problem. After climbing up all the way to the top, we come across one section we cannot navigate, the pole platforms. The first platform only has enough room for the pole, so Mario gets forced away from it anytime he gets near it. This makes it so we cannot get to the top to grab the hot-footed into the volcano star. Elevator Tour in the volcano is pretty much in the same boat. As halfway through the star, you start encountering poles that prevent Mario from advancing. However, it is possible to get 100 coins here, although it isn't very fun at all to do. This gives us 5 obtainable stars and 2 that are not. Moving on to Shifting Sand Land, and another set of huge roadblocks. Talons of the Big Bird isn't too difficult at all. We can make our way over there with the box, walk up these steep pillars, and take the star with a swift box hit to the bird's throat. Shining atop the pyramid is doable, but that fly guy needs to get lost. After these 2 stars though, we find ourselves in some hot water. Inside the ancient pyramid cannot be done because once inside, we're blocked from going up top due to needing to climb poles. Stand tall on the 4 pillars cannot be started because we didn't finish the previous star. Thus, the scenario for destroying the top of the pyramid cannot be initiated. We also can't force our way into IROC either, because there's no way to get the box safely inside of its chamber. It's too far of a jump, and we can't recover the box fast enough when it's thrown. Free flying for 8 red coins is a no-go since we need the box to get the red coins, and we can't actually use the wing cap for flight when holding the box. And of course, Pyramid Puzzle cannot be done because we can't get past those poles. If we play our cards right, we can just squeeze the 100 coin star of this level just barely before we cannot go any higher in the pyramid. This gives us 3 obtainable stars and 4 that are not. So far our box quest hasn't been so great. We've managed to collect 35 stars in total, meaning we can open the 30-star door in the basement, but we are only 5 stars above that threshold. All the remaining 29 stars are unattainable. So if we need more stars in the future, going back to these levels aren't going to help us at all. The next milestone we need to hit is 50, so let's see how we do. Diving into Dire Dire Docks, boarding Bowser's sub is pretty straightforward. Since we have to swim through a loading zone though, we need to pick up our courtesy box since object cloning is banned. Mario can either make his way up the tail of the sub, or use the block staircase created by the switch. Once he snags the star, Bowser in the Fire Sea is opened up and the run is preserved. Chests in the current is pretty much the same as we can obtain it with ease. Pole jumping for red coins isn't possible though, since we aren't able to utilize the box in the pole area. Both through the jet stream and the Manta Ray's reward aren't really all that more challenging, so those are 2 more stars we can add. Moving on to collect the caps, even though Metal Cap wasn't obtainable in Hazy Maze Cave, we were able to activate Vanish Cap with a box in our hands. This star can be obtained with only the Vanish Cap if you're quick enough, so we can add another star to our run. However, the 100 coin star is a different story. Due to the poles in the area, we can only obtain 2 red coins total. Even if we go with the idea that if the box touches something when thrown, it should rightfully collect it, things are still a no-go. The level as a whole contains 106 coins, and without being able to get the blue coin switch across the upper platforms, that alone negates 30 coins as it spawns 6 blue coins. This leaves us with 5 obtainable stars with 2 we cannot collect. With this, we exit this watery domain and head straight into our second Bowser encounter. It's time for another pinnacle point in this run. Bowser in the Fire Sea is a brutal level to traverse with a box. Depending on how you analyze this stage, one could say the run ends right here. And that's a fair assessment. There are 2 major issues with this level. The first is the first pole area we use to traverse to the second floor. And the second issue is up top near the end of the stage. In the previous All Coins run, we were able to utilize the ceiling warp since Mario couldn't use the poles as their climbable attribute turned into a coin. The problem is, this warp involves Mario hitting the exact edge of an object below a hangable ceiling, thus warping him up to grab the ceiling. With the box in hand, we both cannot reach the crease we need, but Mario also isn't able to trigger grabbing the ceiling while holding a box. So at this point, one would classify this run as over, as we cannot progress. However, there is an exploit we can use here on the Virtual Console version of the game. This has to do with how position integers are rounded in the different versions of Mario 64. Virtual Console versus original cartridge. Speedrunner Andrew discovered this, and YouTuber and analyst Bad Boots created a video explaining how it works. I highly recommend watching the video, but the gist of the concept is that leaving this level running for long periods of time on the Virtual Console actually causes these sinking platforms to slowly move towards the absolute middle of the level in terms of vertical distance. So if Mario grabs a box in hand, boards a platform, and stands there for over 9 days, the platform will eventually rise high enough that he can jump and clip through the wall to the elevator. Absolutely absurd, but it works. But once we're past this issue, we're confronted with another one. Mario cannot actually get up top near the goal with a box in hand, because the height difference is too great. He also cannot run and jump far enough to make it back onto the floating platforms with the poles. Even if he somehow could, it's too tall. He could throw the box, but he'll never be able to recover it in time. Because the box falls out of Mario's active range, it's able to fall through the platforms up top and gets destroyed. However, there is one saving grace to this part. If Mario jumps to the edges of the map and walks along the perimeter, he can eventually make his way to the goal area from below. While he cannot jump with the box into the goal no matter how hard he tries, he can throw the box into the loading zone. Technically, since Mario and the box are equal in terms of the rule set, we can count this as the box entering the loading zone. Now, some of you may disagree with that, and that's entirely fine and valid. Once we're inside, the only real challenge is to make sure the box isn't sent flying into the lava. We need to set the box down to grab Bowser, but if we miss a throw, we'll need to rush back to the box as Bowser jumps up. If we don't, the level will turn sideways and the box will begin sliding. In addition to this, if at any point we try jumping at the wrong time while the slope is changing and we're facing the wrong direction, Mario will let go of the box. If we're careful though, we can defeat Bowser and grab another key to move on. Unfortunately, the red coin star at this stage is a lost cause, as there's no way to get up top to grab the remaining red coins. Now we're in the upper part of the castle, and a new set of challenges awaits us. Onwards to Snowman's Land, Mario grabs his trustworthy box and enters a snowstorm. Our first task is to make it on top of the giant snowman and Snowman's big head, and it's quite annoying to do so. The snow mountains in the area are an extreme pain, and making it up and past the penguin isn't too fun either. However, once we reach the top, we realize our quest was in vain. There is no way for Mario to get a box on top of the snowman because the jump distance is too great. This star is a lost cause because of that. Chill with the bully is about the same, as jumping into the bully with the box pushes him off the side. We defeat him and nab another star. In the Deep Freeze presents us with an interesting challenge because we aren't able to grab any ledges. Navigating this ice prison the normal way won't work, but we can build up enough downward slope velocity by repeatedly jumping up the hills that surround the edges of the map. After sliding down it far enough, jumping will launch Mario forward with increased speed and height, allowing us to aim for the angled sides of the ice block. Once on top, we just have to be careful grabbing the star, so we don't break the box in the process. World from the Freezing Pond can be acquired in a similar way, except we climb a nearby hill instead of using it to launch us. Shell shredding for red coins presents us with an interesting problem though. There are 2 red coins positioned above the ice-cold water beneath the big bully's platform. This quote-unquote water actually acts like lava, so if the box touches it, it will destroy it. Normally, you utilize the shell to get these, but we can't use a shell with a box. Beyond that, we also can't slide kick to skip off the surface. Any other sliding results in us getting burned. One of the red coins can be obtained by jumping into it and throwing the box as soon as you collect the coin. Mario will get burned, but the box will fly into land and safely slide up against the hill. However, the last coin is impossible because it is located directly beneath the ice. Because of this, we can't get the star. Into the igloo is doable though, because we unlocked the Vanish Cap earlier in the game. We can collect that star and also use the Vanish Cap to nab the 100 coin star easily, due to how many coins are in the igloo. This gives us 5 obtainable stars and 2 that are not. Next up, we have Tall Mountain. Initially, the stage is pretty much impossible. You can't make the jump at the start with the box, and no matter what you do, the box will break. However, anyone who's watched Super Mario 64 speedrunning will know there's an interesting way to clip through the wall at the start. Doing so with the box allows us to warp to the top body of water due to a strange quirk involving the edges of bodies of water being above each other. This brings us up right by the monkey and annoying fly guy. At this point, we're free to move around the mountain. But things are still a bit annoying. Advancing through the stage normally after the big rolling log ends up leading us to a dead end by the waterfall. Normally Mario is supposed to long jump this, but obviously we can't do that with the box. At first I thought we could throw the box and have the incline stop it, but the box bounces upon landing. So in order to proceed, we have to go back to the rolling log. There's an incline in this area that we can climb if we continually slide down it and jump, scooting up slowly but surely. Once we're up here, the level is ours to take. 3 of the stars here are pretty much relatively the same thing. Scale of the Mountain and Mystery of the Monkey Cage just require Mario to go to the top of the mountain. Breathtaking View from the bridge can be obtained easily if you use the block that spawns with the purple switch, or you can get it with a precise jump as well, although it's more difficult than it looks. Scary Shrooms, red coins, is a star you actually need to work your way down the mountain for. Using the methods outlined earlier, if you start from the top and head down, you'll get all the coins with no issues. Mysterious Mountainside can't be skipped while holding a box, because you can't recover movement in the opposite direction fast enough. But going into the slide is beneficial anyways, since we need the coins within to grab the 100 coin star, which is certainly possible. Making our way to the end of the slide yields us the actual mission star too. This leaves us with only one star left, Blast to the Lonely Mushroom. Now normally you're supposed to use a can to shoot to the mushroom, or you're supposed to long jump from high enough to reach it. However, no matter what we do, we can't use a normal jump to reach the star. We always drop the box upon impacting the mushroom's edge, and it slides off. However, if we utilize slope velocity at the top of the mountain, we can launch Mario with the box so he lands in the middle of the mushroom. This makes it so the box doesn't slide off, and we can simply grab the star. With this, we have a perfect score of 7 obtainable stars. Changing levels, Tiny Huge Island does present us with a few challenges right off the bat. The only viable painting we can navigate is the large one, as if we try jumping into the small painting, we spawn in an area that we cannot escape with the box. Over in the big version of the level, we can use a small hole to make our way over to the main water area. Moving towards the piranha plant for Star 1 isn't possible in the starting area, so we need to move around the island. However, this presents another issue. We cannot make it around the island because one of the jumps is too large for us. Even if we could, we'd run into other issues that would be problematic. So the only way to actually make any progress in this stage is to repeatedly jump backwards on a slope again, and try to make our way up to the midpoint of the stage. The issue with Tiny Huge Island is that some slopes generate too much velocity when jumping, and we cannot climb them. In order to make it up top, we have to use the brown slope right by the hole in the wall. But we can't scale this wall normally, because we need to be rotated 45 degrees. If we aren't, we can't transition slopes to the above slope, and our box will explode. The brown slope keeps trying to correct our direction too, so we need to hit jump as soon as we land. Moving up the slope this way is bizarre, as it can cause Mario to jump strangely. If we play our cards right, we can transition over to the gray slope, and then make it up top. At this point we can climb up and grab the star for the tip top of the huge island. If we make our way back to this point, we can then navigate over to the area we need in order to pluck the piranha plant. With 2 stars in hand, we now begin our race with Koopa the Quick. We can get over to Koopa once we make it to the top of the mountain with our slope. This race is one of the hardest challenges in this run, because Mario is extremely slow compared to when he is not holding a box. The worst part of this entire ordeal is the bridge at the end, which pretty much results in Mario losing the race every time. He moves at half his normal speed when getting blown by the wind, so no matter how far ahead you are, Koopa the Quick will pass you. In order to achieve this star, you need Koopa the Quick to get delayed by the black bowling balls with a lucky spawn. When you get to the bridge, you have to toss a box up at a precise angle, so it will slide across the board. This allows Mario to move at normal speed when crossing. With the box now next to the flag, you should finish the race and grab your box. This is extremely hard to do, but it's possible. The next star is 5 Itty Bitty Secrets, and although it takes place entirely on the small version of the map, we'll need to climb up top on the large version first. If we work our way down carefully, we can snag the star without issue, as most of the places can be reached without any major problems. Wiggler's red coins are a different story though, as we run into an issue with the last red coins. We can collect 6 without issue, but 2 of them are out of our grasp due to being too high to reach. Normally, this presents us with an interesting issue. Oftentimes, when one star is unattainable, the following stars are off limits because the scenario need to load them is blocked. So hypothetically, if star 2 couldn't be cleared, Koopa the Quick could have never been raced because they wouldn't have been loaded into the map. But because Wiggler is loaded on a separate map, he's always present in the area. Beyond that, we are capable of draining the water and entering the boss fight on star 5. So we can defeat him and nab another star. Since Tiny Huge Island has an insane amount of coins, collecting the 100 coin star is a breeze. This gives us 6 stars that are obtainable and 1 that is off limits. Diving into Wet Dry World, a lot of things are the same. Don't get hit by an amp while doing shocking arrow lifts, or you're heading to the seafloor. Dodge the amps, and you can get another star. Top of the town is relatively easy, and nothing changes. Same goes with secrets in the shallows and sky, alongside Express Elevator Hurry Up. Since we changed the water levels in the stage, majority of the difficulty is gone since we don't have to jump around. We do encounter a major problem with this stage though. Even if the water is on max level, we can't make it into the tunnel to get into the town area. No combination of jumping and throwing will ever let the box go over the edge, even if we try using the slope on the side. Trying a different approach, immediately one would think about trying to make it across the slope by slide jumping. However, this slope bordering the level though isn't normal. It won't actually let you jump off it fast enough to continue moving horizontal alongside it. Because of this, go to town for red coins and quick race through downtown are both off limits. We can, however, collect the 100 coins in the first part of the level. This leaves us with 5 stars that are obtainable and 2 that are not. We currently have 63 stars total, meaning we can get upstairs and tackle the last 2 stages. But before moving up, let's pull in some more Castle Secret stars. Mips reappears in the basement after 50 stars, so we can snag an additional star there. There's a Toad on the middle floor of the castle who gives us another star as well. Entering the top door with 65 stars, Toad is waiting for us again to give us another star. Wing Mario over the rainbow, another Castle Secret star, isn't obtainable. There's no way to reach the red coins above us since we cannot gain height at any point. This puts us at 66 total stars, and means Castle Secret stars are no longer a source we can pull from in order to complete the game. That means the last 2 levels, Tick Tock Clock and Rainbow Ride, are the only 2 levels we can utilize now for clearing the game. And those are 2 levels I've been dreading since this whole run started. It's time to tackle Tick Tock Clock. One of the major issues facing us in this level is the fact that the moving geometry is often spaced out of our normal jumping range. Trying to traverse the clock normally makes it so we can't actually make it past the initial rotating cubes. Even trying to jump to the side to force ourselves up gives us issues. So with this immediate roadblock, it makes sense to exit the clock and re-enter it with time frozen. This will make collecting the red coins at the bottom of the clock a lot simpler, and not so much nightmare-inducing. With a few well-placed hops, we can snag these coins and grant us our 68th star. Now the hard part starts. If we use the frozen time setting to get at the rotating platforms, there's nothing else we can do. Without the rotating clock hand, we can't grab the star for get a hand. So we have to enter the clock normally and do probably one of the most annoying sequences this run has had so far. Essentially, you need to jump on a rotating platform at an angle, so that when you jump again, you won't drop the box due to the increasing slope. You need to land on the side of the platform, avoid sliding off if you happen to jump too early, and then jump straight up and to the right so you snap to the center of the platform above you. This only works because there is a slightly rounded center to each platform, and it becomes flat ground when the rest of the platform isn't. Doing this over and over again will allow us to get to the second level of the clock, because the rotating cubes prevented us from doing it initially. At this point, because time is flowing normally, we can jump on the hand to secure the star for get a hand. But this is also the end of the run for Tick Tock Clock. We can't proceed any further due to the next jump's height, so we're stuck at 2 stars that are obtainable and 5 that are not. Onward to Rainbow Ride, the only stage left. We need 2 more stars and we can make it into Bowser in the Sky. If we can't obtain 2 stars, the run is over because all other options have been exhausted. This level is honestly just as frustrating as Tick Tock Clock, mainly because each of its individual paths could simply have one object preventing you from obtaining a star. Diving into Cruiser Crossing the Rainbow, it's a long journey up to where the star is. After dodging tons of objects and perils, we run into an issue though. No matter what we do, the jump to get onto the flying ship where the star is unfortunately too high for us to navigate. We grab the ledge each and every time, shattering the box. So star 1 is unfortunately a bust. Moving on to star 2, Bandy's Big House in the Sky, the same fear is present. With enough patience and well-timed jumps though, we can actually navigate through this big house and snag the star at the top. This gives us 69 stars, so we only need 1 more. Coins amassed in a maze is a hardcore no, as the maze normally requires wall kicks and or ledge grabbing. Swinging in the breeze and tricky triangles both stem from the same area, and getting to that area can be an absolute pain. One section in particular requires Mario to constantly jump on the falling donut platforms. If Mario stands on these for too many frames, the platform falls, but the next platform up is too great of a distance to reach, which causes problems. In order to solve this, we need to sacrifice one platform next to us in order to set down the box on one that isn't falling. The time to set down the box triggers the platform to fall, but the box itself doesn't make the next one over fall. Now we must ledge grab the platform above us, let go of the ledge, and as the platform falls, we need to pick up the box, and use it as a staircase to the next platform. Timing this is really annoying, but this lets us reach the Swingy and the Breeze Star pretty quickly, meaning we can finally go to Bowser as we've achieved 70 stars. Since Tricky Triangle stems from the same path, we can also go over there. You pretty much have to do a perfect run this section because it's absolutely important to keep momentum. The platforms will flip over regardless of what you do, because turning around with a box takes a while. If done correctly, another star will be secured. Somewhere over the rainbow, the last star requires the use of a cannon and also being able to board the ship in Star 1. So this star isn't obtainable. Rainbow Ride has 146 coins total in the stage, but we unfortunately can't collect the 100 coin star for a multitude of reasons. For one, going to any part of the level locks us out of the remaining parts since we need long jump distance to make it back. Poles also cause problems with this. And two, both the red coins in the stage and blue coins are largely unattainable. Only one blue coin can be obtained out of 6, so that takes us down 25 coins total. 8 red coins take us down another 16 as well. There's tuba bombs and a ring of 8 coins on the ship, alongside a Chuckya that can't be reached. So the coins we can reach drops below 100 right off the bat. This gives us 3 stars that are obtainable and 3 that are not. With 71 stars, we can now enter Bowser in the Sky, the final level of our Pizza Delivery Man challenge. Navigating the bottom part of this stage is pretty simple, but we run into a roadblock right off the bat. Once we get to the first set of rotating platforms, we come to a dead end. Proceeding past the rotating platforms yield an area too tall for us to jump, and moving back to the rotating platform to skip this section has its own issues. For one, the height of the land above us just seems out of reach. It's slanted and skewed, so it's a lot of guess and check work for jumping height and distance traveled. But no matter what point on this geometry we aim for, the result is the same. Mario grabs the ledge and shatters the box. Even trying to throw the box doesn't work, because there isn't a slope or something nearby to stop the box from sliding. It simply falls off the stage. I will say that perhaps there may be a way to get past this point, but this isn't the only issue, because near the end of the level is another point we cannot pass. We come across 2 poles that Mario needs to utilize to move forward, and since we can't grab them, the run is essentially a bust. No type of slope momentum can save us, since launching off a slope still doesn't yield the correct height. One set of poles completely grinds our box quest to a halt, and so close to the finish line. It's unfortunate, but because of this, Super Mario 64 cannot be beaten while holding a box in your hand. If some speedrunners have thoughts or strategies for getting past these points, I love to hear them in the comments below. Obviously, I try to keep this gameplay as typical as possible, but I know some stars covered could possibly be acquired through glitches and exploits out of my wheelhouse. So definitely share your thoughts down below. And a huge shout out to Rage for sponsoring this beast of a video too. This took well over 100 hours to make, and sponsors are literally what enables me to keep doing what I'm doing. Behind the scenes, I've been developing my own game, so sponsors like Raid are what is funding that team behind those endeavors. Definitely check Raid out by clicking my link in the description below, and I'll see all of you shortly in the next video. And with that, thanks for tuning in for this absurdly long box quest. Perhaps one of these videos will tickle your fancy. Thanks for watching, guys and gals, and until my next video, cheers. My voice is dead. This script was super long.